Hello, security pros. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on today's ESA webinar, Cellular Technology, POTS Replacement, and Sunset Solutions. Today, we're checking in with experts from NAPCO who will talk through their StarLink LTE communicators. These communicators are boasted as being low-cost, universal solutions for replacing vanishing POTS lines and replacing sunsetting 3G and CDMA alarm radios. In minutes, you can upgrade every account, panel, or FACP on old networks to StarLink LTE cellular communicators, which are available for every application. There's StarLink Fire for commercial fire, StarLink Intrusion, StarLink Connect for connected home and business applications with SMS notifications and optional smart home Z-Wave control, and StarLink Connect DL with native downloading. On your choice of AT&T or Verizon LTE networks, StarLink can save you time, equipment, and labor costs. And our expert from NAPCO will dive deeper into this in just a moment. I'm Jillian Bateman, ESA's Chief Development Officer, and I'll be facilitating our discussion today. Before we dive in with our expert from NAPCO Security Technologies, I do have some tips for those of us joining on your very first ESA webinar. First, welcome. ESA, or the Electronic Security Association, is the largest and longest standing association serving the pro-installed electronic security and life safety industry. Our members are integrators, dealers, monitoring centers, and even manufacturers and service providers in the space. We are the voice of electronic security and life safety. If you're a member, thank you. And we hope you're taking advantage of all the ESA benefits at your disposal. If your company is not an ESA member, check us out, esaweb.org. You'd be surprised at the power of ESA membership. All callers will be muted for the duration of this webinar, but that doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. If at any point a question or comment pops up, just click those icons at the bottom of your control panel there, and I'll pose any questions that you might have to our expert. There's no need to save your questions until the end of today's session. If something pops up, go ahead and ask it, and I'll ensure we save that time with our expert today. We'll also be recording today's webinar, so you can watch the on-demand video at your leisure and share it with your colleagues. You don't have to go searching on the ESA site for it. Just give us till tomorrow to get the video exported and hosted on the website, and we'll send you an email thank you for attending today with a link to the recording. We at ESA realize your time is valuable, and we appreciate you spending some of that time with us today. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our expert, Ziad Ghassani. He is the National Trainer for NAPCO and is National Training School certified at ESA Level 1, 2A, and 2B. He has a rich background in all aspects for security, beginning as an installation manager and director of tech support at Westech, and continuing in various technical operations and management positions in the industry. Z rose to trainer of a biometric access control company before coming to NAPCO to implement its nationwide training program. Z attended UCLA, is EMT and CPR instructor certified, and past president of his local fire police. He is a member of both NFPA, as is, and of course, ESA. Z, we're so pleased to welcome you to our ESA webinar stage. Let's go ahead and dive in.
Jillian, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. That is great. I've enjoyed my membership with ESA for a long time, and you guys are the best, the greatest. Thank you everyone for being here, and it's a great introduction. It's a subject that everybody wants to know about, and we're always talking about is the cellular sunset solution. And as Jillian mentioned, there's a lot to talk about and a lot I'm going to cover here for you. I'm going to give you great opportunities to see what the StarLink will do for you in this upcoming presentation. And the main thing we want to cover is what is the carriers are doing and one is the actual sunset solution on the 3G and the CDMA networks. Again, it's all by NAPCO. You already know who I am. I'll dive right into it. 3G and the CDMA sunsets, everybody's been talking about. They are already in progress. The bandwidth is already being harvested and reallocated for a new technology. There's been some regional outages on these networks reported by the carrier, both AT&T and Verizon. And I mention AT&T and Verizon because those are the networks that we partnered up for our cellular coverage across the continental US. So what happens to 4G or 5G or LTE? Well, thanks to the networks today, they're advertising 5G all over our TV channels in here. 5G is not for the security, and if it is, it's not going to be here for a while. Why? Because the 4G is the backbone of that network. So what is the actual dates that they're talking about? We meet regularly with both of the carriers in here, and the most recent was done virtually, actually, not long ago. The latest dates are actually starting to happen in February 28, 2022 for the GSM, that's your AT&T 3G network. And for your Verizon CDMA, the sunset is definitely going to take place by December 31st, 2022. And also the talks on the 4G or the LTE for the long-term evolution network, that is, looking for about 2030 or 2033. So we're looking at about at least a decade before we actually pay a visit to this conversation again or look for any updates. It might happen, it might even be further, it might not. It all depends on how much IoT they add to their network and how much bandwidth do they have available on the networks. Historically, the carriers, if you look at the screen, is way back then when they started back in the 80s, they knew how far they can go along on each of the networks. For an example, your 4G or the LTE networks, they expected it to last for about 18 years. The big thing with the carriers today is the more speed that they give us, the more speed we want. 5G is really designed for the consumer in mind. So is the LTE. The LTE networks is to save or conserve battery life onto their smart devices. And the more speed that they give, the more battery usage you're going to do onto your devices. So they made them to where you conserve battery life onto your devices. It's not the case in our communicator. Why? Because our communicator is actually powered up from a power source, your control panel or power supplies, which we're going to talk about here today. And the big difference between what happened back in 2G all the way up to 5G is whether it was transmitting in kilobytes, megabytes, or gigabytes. Today, we're looking for gigabytes and the speed that we want on our smart devices. NAPCO knew this for a while when we started back in 2011, less than 10 years later, okay? We became the #1 leading cellular communication company when it comes down to fire intrusion, communication to the central station over a cellular network. We came a long way. We got a big opportunity for you here today that I'm going to show you how that progress and how that progression and the unit itself can make you some money and get you ahead in this industry. The 4G towers you'll see them around town in the metro areas. They're actually going from big towers across the urban country into little tiny towers in the metro areas to supply more the speed and more demand for the consumer. We run on the back end of their channels in their spectrum, deep down into their spectrum on a cave channel, which is secured. We transmit data burst really fast, and it does not need to be on the same channels that everyone talk about. We talking about on your voice channels or your video channels that you transmit video games, you transmit videos on, and you're playing video games. That's not the channels that we transmit on. So we can actually be in a stadium that's got over 150,000 users in there, and your StarLink radio will continue to work. So that provides a big opportunity for the dealer. So that way they can secure their communications from the alarm control panel into their central station. What is the opportunity, we're gonna ask? And again, StarLink is the #1 currently running across the nation when it comes down to security, cellular communication from your control panel to your central station. It is the new leader, delivering new opportunities, increase sales, increase RMR. And that's the reason why we're in this. For the RMR, the recurrent revenue, we partnered up with 2 of the largest communication companies across the nation, Verizon and AT&T. Verizon, literally since 2008, they wrote the security book on wireless communication, on how secure it is and how reliable it is. And they have the biggest footprint across the nation today. And again, with the StarLink is your lowest cost to ensure your communication to your central station is reliable and secure. I will show you the opportunities that's available through the StarLink radio, whether you're doing fire or you're doing intrusion or you're doing interactive services. There's millions of fire panels out there that needs to be upgraded from POTS line to a cellular communication. Same thing, there's over millions of intrusion panels out there that they're still on 3G or 2G. Hopefully they're not on 2G, but on the 3G network or even on POTS line, then they need to be upgraded. Existing security intrusion panels out there, almost 17 million of them, that can be upgraded to the latest technology where you'll be able to remotely access and connect and be able to get notifications off of these. So the opportunity is there through the StarLink radio, again, on both Verizon and AT&T network. I will run through the top 10 reasons to why the StarLink radio really is a great opportunity and the new dealer's choice today for communication. To begin with, it is universal. Therefore, it does not need to be listed with any control panel as long as your control panel communicates contact ID or 4.2 format. It is universal for fire systems that's still communicating over POTS line, or even it's a fire system that does not have a dialer built in. You can still report that control panel to your central station utilizing our StarLink Fire Communicator to any central station you want, whether that panel is 12 volts or 24 volts. Same thing with the intrusion. It can report to any central station via dial-up or IP, contact ID or 4.2 format. Some of us have been doing this for a while, will remember what 4.2 format, but today, mostly is contact ID. 4.2 format is still available on some. Full data reporting of everything inside your control panel. You can use it as a primary communicator or as a backup communicator, and I'm hoping that it is used as a primary communicator because we don't want to back up anything anymore. Utilize more secure communication over a cellular network on both AT&T and Verizon. We'll talk a little more about that here in a minute. Again, the universal uploading and downloading to most legacy control panel like Honeywell, or maybe the DSC Power Series, or obviously the NAPCO control panel, the Gemini series that's dated back into the mid-90s all the way up until today. You'll be able to upload and download remotely through that cellular communicator. Think of the opportunity for taking over existing control panel utilizing the StarLink Connect or the StarLink Connect DL for downloading and uploading or downloading those control panels. Yeah, as low as $9.95 or $10 for the unit. We'll talk about how we came up with that $10 per unit. It is. It is a great opportunity. Or think about the upgrades for the 17 million security system that you wanted to be able to do, where you remotely can access that through your smart app on your phone. Be able to remotely arm and disarm, reset the system, or get notifications. We'll talk more about that. There's tons of opportunities out there for the dealer to utilize the StarLink radio on their installations or on their current customers, or even take over systems out there. It is the easiest install and the easiest cost. Easiest cost, or maybe it's the lowest cost. It's under 15 minutes from free, your cost, to about $60. How is that possible? I get that a lot. What could be for free, Z? What is it that you give away for free? StarLink Free for All program is pretty simple. Every time you activate a StarLink radio, there's 4 steps that you need to take. Activate the unit, select the service plan, put it online, come back to our homepage, and there's a form on our homepage to complete. Within 30 days, if you send us that form, we'll go into your StarLink radio, and we're going to give you $100 towards the service, monthly service fee of that unit. In some cases, that can equate anywhere from 8 months all the way up to about 24 months of free service on that unit that you just installed. You know, depending on the time and when you bought your unit. Most of the time, these things are on sale at distributors, where you buy 4, you got 1 free. The typical cost of your intrusion unit is at $100. And when we apply $100 credit towards the monthly service fee, that's what it equates to be free, because your payback on the unit is a lot faster, a lot sooner. You're actually literally, if you buy them on sale today at a distributor, where you buy 4, you got 1 free, it's no brainer. You're making money before you leave the job, pretty much. And that's how the net cost comes up to about $10. Because if you look at the DL unit, that'll cost you $110, and you apply the $100 rebate towards that, your net cost is literally $10 on that unit, and your return on the investment is a lot faster than you can imagine. And again, you're securing your RMR, you're locking your customer with RMR, and you're providing the services that you need for your customer to communicate to your central station. Plus, it's an opportunity for you as a dealer to make more money, and I'm going to show you how to do that here in a couple of minutes as well. That's how we actually come down to cost of $10 a unit. Every time you install one of these units, we apply a $100 rebate towards that. And again, typical cost of this StarLink radio, as a suggested price, is $995, $100. It's a great device to replace any POTS line or any old units out there, or any existing 3G units out there, whether it be a NAPCO or be a competitor's unit. You can take advantage of that. And there's no numbers, no limit. You can do it on every single StarLink radio you've installed, even on new installations, okay? Or you're going into a job and you're replacing the phone lines, or they don't have phone lines, and that's an opportunity for you to make money as you begin your installation, or at the beginning of the installation. So take advantage of that. Number 3 reason is the StarLink radio is a panel power technology. It's got low current draw power into it, 71 milliamps. It helps the dealer in retrofit most alarm panels, whether it be fire or security, that is. No extra power supplies to add, no additional conduits to run, no additional hardware to install, saving you a lot of money, okay? It powers up from the panel, less expenses that you have to do. Labor is the most costly thing on the job, so if it's less labor to do, why not? Take advantage of that. Again, it's panel powered. It consumes up to 71 milliamps of power on a standby. When it transmits into an alarm, it can go up to 180 to 200 milliamps. And most control panels out there are satisfied with that, and they supply you with that. But we have other options if you do run into a panel that does not have that. We have them with a power supply built in as well. So you'll cut all the unnecessary equipment costs on the job. There's no need to add a battery in there. There's no need to have a plug-in transformer wired up into 110 or any of that stuff. So it's all built right into the unit. Very attractive, very efficient, and installer friendly at the same time. And most of the dealers that install the unit says, hey, it works. It works the minute we plug it in, the minute we test it, it works. Now, Reason number 4, you can generate a large new opportunity for incremental RMR by replacing, the obsolete POTS line. They don't exist anymore. Landlines are gone. Fire panels communicate over POTS line currently, need to be upgraded. And more across the country, I see that. Okay, that's going to give you a lucrative RMR, make more money off of that StarLink radio when you replace the POTS line, or whether it be a digital or an actual existing POTS line. So now you're doing is you're taking that money that the phone company was getting and you're transferring that money into your pocket. How is that possible? Really? We're cutting the phone company out completely? Well, you're becoming now not just a security provider, but you're a communication provider for your customer at the same time, allowing you to make extra recurring revenue from that customer. How is that possible? Let's use this example in here for, let's say, you have a customer that has a fire control panel, and each fire control panel requires 2 POTS line. Typical charge for the 2 POTS line annually is about $1,800 or $150 a month. Okay, on a sole path fire unit, if you charge your customer $60 a month, which will give them an annual $720 charge, saving them almost $1,100 a year, $1,080 to be exact. Now you're saving your customers some money. In the meantime, you are making that money as well. Let's say you have 500 of these locations. That's $500,000 a year in saving for the customer if they have 500 locations. And for you, it means as $360,000 additional in revenue for your company on these services as well. Again, remember, no more POTS line. We're doing it through a cellular services. And obviously, NAPCO charges for a cellular services for each of these units. And in terms, you're going to charge your customer per month for these units as well, like you normally would. But now they're not paying the phone company anymore. They're paying you that kind of money, generating more recurring revenue for yourself. Number 5 is your reliable cell reporting across the country on the choice of a network, AT&T or Verizon LTE networks, providing the largest coverage footprint in the industry pretty much. Verizon still has the best coverage across the nation. I see it every day. I talk to dealers every day. And I would say for every 10 Verizon units we sell, we probably sell maybe 3 or 4 AT&T units. That doesn't mean AT&T does not have this, a good footprint. Our partnership with AT&T allowed us to kick north of the border up. We're actually partnered with them, and where they allow us access to the Canadian market through AT&T. They partnered with the carriers up in Canada, and therefore we're allowed to sell our radios and have our radios communicate in the Canadian market, with the exception of the fire radios, since they're not approved by the Canadian fire marshals or fire ULs up there as well. But all of the intrusion and the connect radios are available in the Canadian market. But yet, again, some parts of the US still utilizing AT&T. But most of the coverage, I would say, comes up with Verizon. But that's the reason why we have both AT&T and Verizon LTE coverage on a 4G network. Now, the number 6 reason, I would say it's the easier communicator to install, and is the only communicator in the market that is pre-activated. And a lot of people goes like, what? It's pre-activated? I don't need to call the phone company. I don't need to call to AT&T or Verizon. Nope. That's going to save you a lot of labor, a lot of time on the job site. You can actually activate a radio. It does not need to be activated where it's going to need to be installed. You activate it in your office. You can check on signals for it, get it up and running, take it out and box it or ship it across the country if you want. When they get it, they can open it up, power it up, and it will communicate. It will work. It doesn't need to be activated where it's going to be installed. So it's not regional. It's nationwide coverage. Again, it's the easiest to install. It powers up from your control panel and being activated, provisioned onto the network that it belongs to. It saves time, it saves labor. It connects to the network right away because it knows what type of communicator it is. It saves you a lot of trouble in terms of troubleshootings, endless calls to your carrier or to your central station or to us as well. You'll know. All you have to do is apply 12 volts to any of the units, give it 2 minutes, and it will find a tower, and it's going to let you know if it's got good signals or not, if it's going to work or not. And we have the tools that will allow you to determine these factors as well, way before you sell the job. Again, all of our units, it doesn't matter if it's fire, intrusion, or a connected radio, they're all actually provisioned and activated before they leave the factory. So the ones that you pick up at your distributor on the shelf, they're already active, they're all live on the network, waiting for you to go pick it up and take it to the job site and get a service plan on it. And activation is really easy. Steps 1, 2, 3, and you get it up and running, and it'll be communicating to your central station. It is a better LTE performance with the dual antennas that we have with the signal boost technology. 2 antennas are better than 1? I would say yes. We were the first one to come out with that. It amplifies the signals, even in the fringe areas where we found the competitors didn't have the best coverage that there is. The reason we came up with 2 antennas, and I mentioned this earlier in the presentation, is LTE was designed with the consumer in mind to conserve battery life on their smart devices. Well, this one, yeah, it is a smart device, but we care less about conserving battery life on this. It's powered up from my security panel or my fire panel. So I need to be connected constantly. I don't need to be connected only when I'm communicating. So therefore, the 2 antennas came in play. And they also help in an area where there's really weak coverage at the same time. The left antenna on the unit, we call it the send and receive antenna. And that's the antenna that sees a tower, finds a tower, and connects to it, and it stays connected constantly. So we call it the send and receive antenna. Your right antenna on these units, we call it a stabilizer antenna, and it's also a receive and dedicated for your transmission and communication as well. So both antennas are actually part of the unit, integral part of the unit, and they need to be on the unit in order for it to communicate properly. This will avoid any signal droppage out, in between the unit and the tower for that matter. Again, the signal boost technology that's built into these antennas will ensure that there's no clash on that signal and the communication. You'll know. There's a signal strength indicator that comes in every time that radio transmits to your central station. You'll be able to see that in the knock where that unit communicates to as well. So you'll be able to tell. Also, there's a status LEDs on the front of the unit that will let you know what your signal strength is. We also provide you with the tools if you need them to, so that way you can test the job site or survey the job site before you actually sell the unit or install the unit if you need to. Most of the time, dealer says, hey, I use my smartphone to be able to tell if I'm gonna have good signals or not. And again, we were the first one to come out with the dual antennas on our LTE units. Soon after that, and I think it was a while after that, other manufacturers followed suit. But we worked closely with the carriers on these things to ensure that the continuous communication between the unit and the towers never drop, constantly communicating and constantly secure. It is a proven reliability when it comes down. That's your reason number 8 for its class-leading technology. We do over-the-air upgrades on all of our firmware. What does that mean to the dealer? Okay, most of the time, the carriers will go out and do some upgrades into their cell towers, enhancements, improvements, or changes. And they do that across the country in different markets. Our philosophy is if it is working, there's no need to fix it. But in some cases where they go in there and they do the upgrades, they usually notify us and they let us know which market they did the upgrade in. And then we have to do some updates on our end to conform with their upgrades on these towers as well. Now, whether the unit in the field gets affected or not, it's usually unknown until they do the update. And once they do the update, if it is affected, the firmware upgrade that we have can be actually remotely sent to the unit over the air. Unless it's a fire unit, you really don't need to be there. And what do I mean by unless it's a fire unit? If it is a fire communicator, obviously you need to be on the job site to allow the unit to accept the firmware upgrade over the air. Then you need to test it. It's a fire code, it's a UL code, and it's a standard code on every application when it comes down to life safety. So we're no different, we have to do that. But if it's an intrusion, for an example, and there's been an update and you notice that there's a problem, after they did the update, we can remotely, our tech support has been trained, we can look up the unit, cross-reference the firmware update inside the unit, and if the carrier has anything new available, we'll remotely flash that for you. And again, the bottom line, it reduces needless in-field labor and truck rolls, saving the dealer some money when it comes down to remote upgrades on these units. And you'll know it because you'll have access to the NOC where you can actually check the communication on the StarLink radio to know if you need to do any of these changes or not. It is the easiest and easily retrofit on upgrades in the estimated 17 million security alarm panels out there. You know, the smart connected business or connected home installation, complete with event reporting and a virtual keypad. What does that mean to the dealer? Yeah, there's about 17 million of those alarm systems out there. With the StarLink Connect, there's two models. The one with the C for communication and notifications, you'll be able to actually remotely access your control panel. Have a virtual app that looks exact with a keypad that looks exactly like your keypad on the premise. There's no training to be done for the end user. The app is free, they can download it. It is compatible not just with NAVCO control panel, but with Honeywell Vista line panel, as well as a DSC Power Series control panel, giving you the ability to upload and download as well. So remain connected, get unlimited text and email or SMS notification on this unit, on anything your alarm panel can do. And this unit itself is born as a dual path communicator. That means there is IP on board, that you can utilize the IP communication on board of that unit to back up your cell communication. In case there's a cell problem, you can still report to your central station. You may not be able to remotely access the unit through the app because all of those features are done on the cellular network, but your alarm communications will still communicate to your central station, therefore providing secure path for your alarm panel to your central station. If you choose to go with the Z model of that unit, that will allow you access to 232 Z-Wave devices on this unit. We're not going to sit there and limit you to the number of devices you do, but if you have a premise that wants to have 232 Z-Wave devices, I'd say God bless you. That is great, but it's capable of doing that. The Z-Wave controller is built right into our StarLink radio. And again, your net cost on this will end up being about $50. Why? Because you get $100 credit to whether you're using the Z model or the C model on these units. And again, Z-Wave devices like being, remotely able to go in there, turn on your lights, adjust your thermostat, shut down different things, close your garage door, turn on certain features, lock or unlock the door as well. And the best part about our Connect radio, it integrates with our iBridge wireless video cameras as well. So you can remotely see that through your app and access video through an app. It's like being in two places at once, okay? Just check in on employees. If you have it at your business, you'll be able to look in and see what's going on. See why the back door has been open for a while, because you'll get a notification. Somebody left the door open, okay? Or maybe the kids came home, but who came home with the kids as well? Or, if you have a delivery that's supposed to be there, you'll be able to remotely check and see. Open the door, unlock a system, unlock the door, or turn on and off the system, or reset the alarm without having to leave, your home or your business. It's a great opportunity to change, to charge additional RMR or create more recurring revenue. The consumer wants this a lot today. Everybody wants to be in control and having it all into their smartphone. And that is available through the Connect radio. Also through the DL radio version of the Connect, you're able to upload and download through the native software on the NAPCO control panel, the DSC control panels, and the Honeywell control panels utilizing their native software like your Compass or your DLS or the quick loader on the NAPCO control panel. Just as fast, just like as you being, on the job without having to go through a modem, the only thing faster than that if you're directly connected to the control panel. But think of the opportunity where you can actually do remote desktop support, for an example, where you can actually access the consumer's control panel, change their code, adjust things for them, and be able to build for that. That is a great opportunity to generate recurring revenue as well. The number 10 reason that I wanted to mention, and I saved this for last, and there's still more stuff here to go over, but it is the compliances that we get approved by. You are listed on NFPA 72, 2019, 17, 13, 10. We can go anywhere from 200-second check-in all the way up to 6 hours on the fire or on UL installation. If we're doing special UL installations, whether it be a jewelry, pharmaceuticals, banking, or we're doing fire applications, the UL check-in requirements are very strict, and we meet the compliances on all of them. We're also CFM approved by the state of California, as well as New York City Fire Department approved and LAFD approved. Whether we do household fire, intrusion, or commercial applications, we are listed and approved. Compliance is big for us, and we strive to keep it that way, and to be at the forefront for this communication. So you don't need to worry about it. We are listed in that perspective. Now, to do the radio and market the radio and help you sell the radio, we will help you as well. We provide you with material to give to your consumer, to the end user if you needed to. We have trifolds online. If you go to the NAPCO security webpage, under the marketings, you can look up all kinds of marketing material that we have available, not just for the dealer, but for the consumer as well, to educate them on the cellular communication and the vanishing POTS line as well. And they're free. All you have to do is just give us a call, send us an email to our customer service, and just ask for the material you're looking for. We can ship you up to 200 pieces on each of those at no cost to help you sell your cellular services, keep your customers connected, and make sure they're still communicating to your central station as well through our StarLink radio. So we do that. Now, if you are in a fringe area and you're not sure if there is good signals coming in and you wanted to test, we have what we call a survey tool for both fire and intrusion in both AT&T and Verizon if you needed to. What this unit will do is we'll serve as site for you. It does come with pre-activated SIM card built right into it. It's got a battery attached to it that is rechargeable, comes in with a desktop stand to it and a charging transformer as well with a USB plugged right into it to recharge the unit. But you can carry that with you to the job site. Looking professional, walk in there, turn the unit on. There's an on and off switch on the power supply in the back. Give it 2 minutes, and once that red LED goes out, you're looking at your status LED in here, and that's going to tell you if you get good signals or not. Most of the time, the StarLink radio, especially on fire equipment, it may need to be installed right where next to your fire control panel, or even if it's an intrusion. You might want to put it right next to your intrusion panel or fire panel. Now, how do you know you got good signals right next to the control panel? Yeah, most of the dealers that I talk to, they say they look on their smartphone and they see that, they got 2 bars, everything looks good, or they make a phone call, everything is good. Would that work? I would say probably yes, but is it 100% accurate? This will give you 100% accuracy right there. Again, remember, we're not in the same frequencies that you and I talk on the phone. We're completely on the different frequencies. So this will give you an idea, okay, if you get good signals or not. But maybe, like, next to the panel, it's not. But when you go outside, you get a better signal strength on this unit. So that way you can make a determination if you would want one of these antennas or not. We build this extended range cellular antenna that is universal, that it can be used on any cellular communicator out there, okay? With the signal boost technology built right into it as well. This is really a powerful unit. You can gain up to 9 dB signal strength on this unit. So if you're inside the premise and your signal strength on the unit is about 110, which in most cases on a fire unit is not going to be acceptable by your AHJ, this will bring the, your signal strength down to the acceptable level. So your job will be completed, inspected, and pass inspection as well. And it is all supervised, okay? It's compatible with any brand out there as well. It does come with the fittings and all the hardware for that. Obviously, we would want you to use it on our brand of radios. It does come with an isolation bracket that can be installed outside. It is indoor, outdoor, marine grade unit. It does come in a 30, 50, 75, or 100 foot cables made out of LMR 300 and 400 coax cables. And if you know what that is, those are huge coax cable. And again, they're made out so that way they have minimum loss of signals on these cables. It's like 0.00031 on that signals. That's your voltage signal variation loss on that cable. And they do work. And just recently, last week, I heard that we just added another one of those antennas with 4-foot cable on them. So they do come in 4 foot all the way up to 100 and in increments of 30, 50, 75, or 100. Just you can order the size that you'd need. And again, the unit I just showed you will be an ideal unit to test. So you'll know what size of cable do you need to add to your job, to improve your signal strength in an area where it's really weak, for both AT&T and Verizon, by the way. NAPCO's quality, make no mistake about it, we are very proud to tell you, all of our products are built to last. We're the only one in the industry that we offer a 3-year warranty, no questions asked. It is documented in the paperwork that comes with your unit. And there's also each of the product that we ship out. It has a born-in date on it. As you can see on the screen, that's your born-in date of that product. And normally, if you buy one today, we're in November, so the product will probably have a January sticker on it, January 21, because we allow 60 to 90 days in most of the time. That's for your transportation, logistic time, travel time, or shelf time somewhere at a distributor. We want to give you the full 3-year warranty on these products. And again, electronics usually don't go rotting out on the shelf, but you deserve the 3-year warranty. Our product lasts, the quality lasts, and that's something we're proud of. We do not have a repair department. We do not repair any of our product at NAPCO. So if anything that goes bad within the 3 years, you can return it to your distributor or where you bought it from, or you return it to us, we'll ship you a new one. If it is out of warranty, obviously, you'd have to buy new stuff for it. But we honor 3-year warranty in all of our product, and that's the NAPCO way of doing things. Hopefully this was very helpful. There's a lot more information if you go into our webpage on the StarLink LTE.com or NAPCOsecurity.com. You'll find more of training opportunities for your installers, your sales reps. As Jillian mentioned earlier, I do a training for NAPCO nationwide, and lately I've been doing it online. We do also local trainings at distributors or at dealers as requested. Because of the pandemic today, everything is done remotely. And just let us know. always your best sunset solution with a StarLink radio. Any questions? And I knew I would be under an hour, and I wanted to take some questions. And I appreciate everybody's time today.
Thank you,
Brilliant.
C.
Thank you.
As a reminder, you can go and click that Q&A icon at the bottom of your control panel to pose a question to Z. I do have a few here. Do you have an advanced replacement program for any products being returned under warranty?
We don't. Again, with the warranty, that sticker on each of the product, you can take that unit back to where you bought it, and they'll exchange it for you right then and there.
Thanks, Z. So of those, dealer integrators that are obviously going through this sunset with you, what have you seen for best practices in reaching out to customers and getting the radios swapped? I know there were a lot of ESA members trying to get in there when businesses were closed due to COVID lockdowns, but do you have any success stories to share?
The marketing material that we have on our webpage that we offer for free for our dealers has been, very successful. Most of the dealers utilize that marketing material to mail it into the customers, to the end users, whether it be stuffed with the statements or direct mailing. And that's been very, very successful in terms of getting the customers to know more about what's going on with their alarm communications and the latest technology that's available for them to remotely access their security system if it is intrusion, or the most secure ways to have their fire control panel continuously communicate life safety information to the central station. I would suggest that the best way to do it is if you go to the napcosecurity.com, and under resources, we have a marketing library that is full of those, material in there. And each one of those materials have a part number attached to it. And if it's something that the dealer likes, we can ship them up to 200 of those pieces at no additional charge. And it does not just cover the StarLink radio, it does other stuff in there as well that we have on the website.
Thanks, Z. If anyone has any additional questions, I'll give you just a moment here longer to pose those to our expert. All right then. Z, I want to thank you very much and thank NAPCO Security Technologies. NAPCO is a strategic partner of ESA, meaning they invest back into the association and into the industry to support their integrator dealer channel. So thank you, Z, for sharing this information with us today. Thank you for everybody who attended our webinar. It is being recorded, and so that recording will be sent to you in a thank you email tomorrow. With that, I will see you on the next one.
Thanks, Jillian. Thanks, everyone. Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.